always takes time to begin to get a clear picture of what government or different corporations, different organizations are doing. I knew that this was a psyop from the very beginning, starting last week. And now I'm more sure than ever this is a complete government hoax, just like the 1976 swine flu outbreak at a U.S. military base, just like the 1918 broke out at a U.S. military base. And they said, basically, this is the end of the world. This is going to kill tens of millions of people. You've got to take the shots. And the flu killed no one, but the shots killed a bunch of people, and that's on record. But we have seen massive military takeover drills, real military checkpoints from Tennessee to California, FEMA drills coinciding for the last 3 weeks into the next 2 weeks in every county, every city for a flu outbreak. That's a big article we should do. I've got them all here on the stacks from the last few weeks, where we kept seeing FEMA doing drills and the news showing how FEMA was doing drills for a massive flu pandemic and preparing mass graves and setting it up with the cemeteries and getting ready for martial law and quarantine and scaring the police and getting everybody ready for federal control. And then magically, boom, there's a few deaths in Mexico and the fear-mongering begins. There's been one death in the U.S. They're now saying 12 deaths. Some say 7, 9, 12, whatever, less than 20 deaths. They've tested the other couple hundred dead people, and it's pneumonia. The common cold kills hundreds and hundreds and hundreds any day of the week in Mexico City, of 30-plus million people, biggest city in the world. And when it's flu season, you might have thousands dying in a week in Mexico City. You've got thousands dying at the peak of the flu season in just a few weeks here in the United States. 30-plus million. Every time I say that, I get emails going, you said there was 28 million or there was 35 million. Whatever, folks. They debate the number of people in Mexico City. What is it, 28 million metro, according to the CIA fact book, and 35 million total with the suburbs. Whatever. You got 30-plus million people crowded in there. Of course, you're going to have, in the last few weeks, hundreds of deaths from pneumonia and regular colds. They have a lot of respiratory problems down there. Meanwhile, you can debate whether it's 15,000 or 35,000 deaths a year. It gyrates in the United States. Let's just say it's thousands and thousands from flu every year. Meanwhile, one death. And they're talking about just quarantining U.S. cities, martial law, lockdown. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got CNN, I've got Fox, I've got CBS, I've got ABC News, AP, Reuters, Time Magazine, Newsweek, literally every major publication, U.S. News and World Report. They're saying the government is preparing with the BATF, FBI, local police, state police to lock down every U.S. city. We might lock down one town or one city or one state, or we might lock down entire areas of the country. Because this thing's deadly, and if it spreads to one more nation, that'll be level 6 pandemic. On and on and on and on. And Reuters reported last night, we're about to go to level 6. Well, we told you 2 days ago. We got the internal documents out of Texas. They're already at level 6. They're just not telling you. That's why you don't see any cops on the roads for a week straight now. They're all, literally, I've seen no police in Austin. None. They're usually everywhere, writing tickets and feeding, like piranha. Like piranhas on a big fat hog that fell into the Amazon. Well, they're all meeting and guarding the Tamiflu and freaking out, practicing going under federal control in a ritual of tyranny. We'll come back, break it all down. Big show lined up. I may be proven wrong, but I rarely am. But I hope I'm right. I'm really becoming confident that this is absolutely, completely a massive criminal hoax on the part of the charlatans that run our planet. Another psychological operation. You have the Tea Parties that are bipartisan. 98% of Americans in major polls, 1,000-to-1 phone calls to Congress against the banker takeover. The banks are getting ready to take trillions and trillions more. They're stealing over $1.5 trillion a month. The American people are upset about the MIAC report and the Department of Homeland Security reports, seeing Ron Paul supporters, libertarians, gun owners, people buying ammo, returning veterans are the number one enemy of Homeland Security, and that the federal government exists to basically suppress the American people. That was spreading like wildfire. The left was waking up. The spell they're under was wavering for a moment when they noticed that he was expanding the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, that he was protecting Bush on torture, on secret arrest, on rendition, on camps, that he was saying if you follow orders, it's okay, saying the Nazis were right, Nuremberg, and the Allies were wrong. His numbers were in free fall, dropping as many as 5 points last week. And then along comes a crisis so the government can grandstand and save us. It doesn't matter if the Army's own documents in mainstream news admits that Tamiflu, the antiviral drug, doesn't help you with the flu. They have armed convoys of National Guard and police all over the news guarding it. They have suddenly TV shows produced months ago air on every channel. I've confirmed at least 5 where people go to jail for not taking vaccines in different dramas, and people are fighting over flu shots, but only the CEOs get it under InfraGard. And so it's the illusion of, I've got to fight to get it on the sitcoms with the American Idol crowd, watching TV, thinking, I wish I could get the shot, trying to create a artificial run on what I call the Christmas toy phenomenon. As you know, they've caught companies staging fights for news cameras for a toy, then they put it on the news. The channel will be owned by a subsidiary of the toy company, and then it becomes a national story, and then everybody's fighting and killing and paying $10,000, for a $100 toy. I've got to have the Tamiflu. I've got to have the bird flu shot. I've got to have the swine flu shot. I want it right now. I've got to have mask. It's all over. We're dead. What is the government going to do? Save us. Save us. But because the bioweapon release in 1918 with vaccinated soldiers at U.S. military bases killed 40-plus million people, because the globalists have weaponized Ebola, because they've weaponized foot and mouth, because they've built 36 level 4 bioweapons labs across the country, because they're openly been caught sterilizing people and injecting people and killing people in thousands of chemical and biological and radiological tests, we have to take it serious when they come out and they say this could be a pandemic, and now they're saying it's going to be a pandemic. That just means that 5 nations have it, different regions have it. A pandemic, there's a pandemics every fall and every winter and every spring when people have colds or the flu. A pandemic just means a large portion of people get it. And so they've gone to level 6. I told you that Wednesday. They're now in Reuters yesterday and today saying, yes, we're about to go to level 6. Now, there is no doubt that this is a distraction for the real crisis. Chrysler going bankrupt yesterday, going into receivership. I've got a Chrysler vehicle. Isn't that nice? The Chrysler vehicles, Dodge, and others are all over the roads. GM's going to go bankrupt. They're going to shut that down in the next few months. And it's going into globalist receivership, and it'll be handed off to Bilderberg Group members. Just like the owner of Fiat. He's in the film Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement. We got video of him in Istanbul. Chairman of Fiat, owner of Fiat, is one of the top Bilderberg Group members. And it's just going to be handed to him in bankruptcy court. They're going to chop General Motors up in little pieces and give a piece to this company, a piece to that company. They're going to give them bailout money to move to Brazil. Mexico is going under the waves. This came right at a perfect time as the drug war flared up, as the people are on the verge of rebellion. Most analysts were saying Mexico could fall this summer, and a perfect unifying effect comes. Oh, my God, you might die. And then they say 100 dead, 200 dead, and then, oh, it's only 7 dead. But meanwhile, they're just warming up here with the fear-mongering, shutting down schools here and there all across the nation. Incredible amount of schools closed in Texas, California, New York. And then I'm being attacked by CNN, MSNBC. MSNBC is attacking me today.